Even though I'm in my twin flame union, I'm with my person, things should be beautiful, things should be perfect, but I still felt really alone. Hi guys, welcome back to my channel. My name is Serena, and today we are going to be talking about how your relationships morph and change throughout this process of the twin flame journey. So I'm going to take you through meeting my twin flame, separation, and after union stages of how my relationships have drastically changed in my life during these different times. So, buckle up because this is going to be quite a session. And if you don't know already, my name is Serena. I am one half of Life After Union. We are two twin flames in union. We make weekly videos to help you through your twin flame journey, through your spiritual ascension, and through, of course, your conscious relationships. So we're giving a picture for you of what life after union does look like, right? Like that's always the perspective and the lens that we're approaching these videos from is like, okay, after union, here is how things have shifted for us, or here is, how we now see our separation stage. And a lot of times when you're in the thick of it, it's difficult to see, oh, like 2 years from now, this is going to be how my perspective changes on that. And I'm going to see, like, oh, it was all a divine plan and all of these different things. So that is the purpose of this channel. So if you haven't already subscribed, please do. If you're looking for an incredibly supportive and transformational community for twin flames, you can check the link down below and you can enter my Union Catalyst portal. This is where beautiful, beautiful twin flame souls are coming, gathering, and sharing all aspects of their twin flame journey, whether it is the conscious awakening part, whether it is trials and tribulations going on between their twin flame dynamic, whatever it is you can imagine, and plus the magic and the synchronicities and the inner child joy as well. So if you're looking for a supportive place to come, you can absolutely check the link down below, and we'll see you on the inside. So in this video, I'm going to be sharing basically my entire journey on how my relationships have shifted. Because especially this last week, I always feel like when I'm making videos from the space of, oh, this is what I'm moving through right now. This is what's relevant in my journey right now. And that's why it becomes then so relevant to you. So in this last week, I've really had my relationships, whether it's friendship, work relationships, all of that kind of stuff has been really highlighted for me over this last week. And it's called me into this reflection of like, wow, my relationships really have changed so much from the time I met my twin flame till now. Which, if you guys don't know, I met my twin flame in 2021, and of course now is almost 2026. So that being said, I want to start off with when I met my twin flame, I was in a karmic relationship. So, what's really interesting about this time is I feel like all my relationships almost at that time were very karmic in nature. They weren't relationships that stayed around for a long time. They're not relationships that I'm still in contact with right now. And I had about like, I would say 7 to 10 or 11 close people in my life at that time. And all of them lived incredibly dysfunctional lives. And what I realized at this point, before I even met my twin flame, it was highlighting the dysfunction that already existed within me. And that blew my mind away because I remember, most of us are blind to our own blind spots or our own dysfunction. And it was so blaringly in my face. I had a friend with incredible sleep issues. I had a friend that could not make a decision to change their lives. I had a friend that was afraid of every little thing. I had a friend that was incredibly judgmental. Like all of these different strong polarities, and it all caused severe dysfunction in their lives. And when I survey what I was like at that time in my life before meeting my twin, is I was incredibly disempowered empath. I was incredibly in victim mentality. And I really felt like the world was happening to me and I wasn't a part of like my own world. I didn't have choices. I didn't, there's a lot of lack based mindsets and a lot of my own dysfunction where I put everybody else's needs before my own. And that was also a primary theme in my karmic relationship at the time. So All of these relationships were like a culmination of all the dark and disempowered aspects of myself. And as I met my twin flame, this was when I really began doing that inner work of like, no, I'm worthy of having relationships that are fulfilling to me. I'm worthy of having relationships that give back to me the amount that I'm giving. At this time in my life, I felt really like all of my relationships were draining me. Like I would go and I would come back and I would have less energy than when I started. And so this was also a push for me to spend a lot of alone time. I recently made a video around why you might be losing relationships right now on your twin flame journey. And I suppose this is kind of a good follow up video to that. So if you haven't watched it, you can watch that one too, because the natural progression is we have relationships throwing fluff in my face. um we have relationships in our lives that serve a certain purpose, right? And then as we're on the twin flame journey, we start to heal, we start to change, we start to catalyze, we start to transform. And then there's a period of, I feel like, intense aloneness. And it's really necessary. Even though it's a really sad time, it can be a really lonely time. It's incredibly important to have this time in order to turn within and start asking yourself the deeper question of like, what actually am I looking for in relationships? What actually do I want? What would serve me? What would fill my cup? And when we continue to do that work on ourselves, that's when the reflection starts coming forward. So for me in my own journey, I had to cut ties with all of those relationships. And I didn't do it consciously. Like some of them I did, but most of them, honestly, as soon as I learned the lesson, they just kind of started to naturally fall away. And I had one big breaking point with all of them at the same time. Even, you guys, you cannot imagine the drama and the sorrow I felt at that time in my life when it was like all of these beautiful relationships, because even though they were dysfunctional, I still loved each and every one of these people. I still saw the beauty in them. It wasn't like it was all toxic, and no relationship is, right? And that's why they're relationships, is because it's not black and white. It's all the spectrums of everything in between that. And part of being in relationship is seeing the light and seeing the dark, and experiencing the light and experiencing the dark. So that was a time that when all of these relationships kind of fell away, I felt incredibly sad and I felt incredibly alone. And I felt like a lot of it, I had done something wrong, right? Like I wasn't enough, or I didn't deserve to have friends, or again, all of these victim mentality programs and stories that began to play out for me. But when I really started to know and embody the truth that was within me, which is I'm meant for more and I need to have relationships that serve me as much as I serve them, that's when everything started to change. And so that was actually the point in which I could be with my twin flame, right? I almost had zero friends during separation, maybe one or two friends, and they were like acquaintances. It wasn't somebody that I was spending a lot of time with. It was like we would send a message. We were on the same kind of soul path, soul journey. And so we would send messages back and forth and kind of talk about the journey, but it wasn't a time of like really deep and close friendships. And that also was preparing me for those of you that have distance in your twin flame relationship. It was also preparing me to leave that life behind and start a new life. So I had to kind of close out these karmic cycles and close out some of these friendships. Some of them I'm still friends with. But again, it's more like an acquaintance. It's not like a best friend type of scenario. And for me, that was a really important part of my journey. This isn't going to be the case for every single person, but if you watch my channel and you like my videos, it's likely because we're on a similar path and a similar journey. So there might be some truth in this for you as well. Now, when it comes to early stages of union, I still had a lot of this victim programming. I still didn't always feel worthy of support. So I'll give you an example. My twin flame and I were house hopping in the beginning of our relationship. So we didn't have a place. We were still testing things out, but yet we were like living together, but we were house hopping. So we stayed at his grandparents' house while they were away on vacation. We stayed at a friend's house and we house sit at her house while she was away on vacation. And so I still had these programs of like, I'm not worthy of support. and I'm not worthy of having exactly what I want, right? And it's always like we're trying to fit these puzzle pieces and we're like, okay, I got this piece of the puzzle, but now I'm missing this piece. And now I've got this piece, but I'm missing this piece. And so for me, it was very much that same way in the early stages of union. I still had these programs of like, I'm alone, right? Even though I'm in my twin flame union, I'm with my person, things should be beautiful, things should be perfect, but I still felt really alone. And it's because that karma and those programs needed to play out and lose their momentum. And that can really only happen over time and repetition, because that's how we work as humans. In the 5D, yes, I have all the spirit support in the world, but my 3D human needed to catch up to that. And so in the beginning of our union, I was still really skeptical of any of the friends that I was meeting because I had been burned so badly before. So I wasn't willing to really put my all into friendship relationships. I was like, let me more so just focus on my twin flame dynamic, my inner work, my integration, all of that kind of stuff. I wasn't really interested in friendships or acquaintances or anything like that. And now, given the fact that I was coming to my twin flame's hometown, so this is where all of his friends were. So we always had a lot of stuff going on when it came to friends, but I wasn't emotionally available enough to like build those deep bonds. Now, that what's really interesting about that is now a few years down the line, that karma has really burned itself out. And now my relationships, I'm always being reminded how powerful I am and how when I approach a certain situation, it can change everybody else in the room. And this is going to be true with all twin flames that are at this point of inner union within themselves. So that doesn't mean you have to be in union with your twin. You just have to be in union with yourself, right? In harmony, in balance, in truth with yourself. And you can change everybody else in the room through your own frequency, your intention, and your pureness. And what's been coming up for me over the last week is I've had a baby shower that I've been planning for a friend, and I've been taking on all the responsibility on myself. And I finally was like, you know what? She asked me to plan this for her. So she might actually want to help. She might actually want to be involved. And so I sent her a message and was like, hey, look, this is where I'm at. I'm struggling a little bit with all the things I have going on. Can you support? And she was like, yes, 100%. I would love to support you. I want to be a part of it, like all of this. And again, it reminded me how I approach a situation, whether that's in gratitude or in fear, is going to be how that situation responds to me, right? Everything is a reflection of us. And our twin flames highlight this so palpably in the twin flame journey. But it's a reminder that it's not just your twin flame that's a reflection of you. It's everybody in your circle. And this is why, when you're in union with yourself, all of your relationships also change. I also remember feeling very much like nobody really understood me when it came to the twin flame journey and seeing things from a spiritual lens and a spiritual perspective. And after my union, my physical union and my inner union, both after that, I really started to have a development of other people in my lives that had their own spiritual bent to how they saw the world. So whether it was the same way I saw things or not, but it was like still people that were devoted to their paths, right? And so that was really important to me, because people that are devoted to their path, whether you agree on the beliefs or not, there's an understanding that something greater calls you. And so when you cancel plans with somebody that's on their path and they're following their path, they don't usually get upset, because they understand like, oh, something greater calls you, something greater calls you. You don't have to make the same 3D rationalizations for other people that follow spirit or follow God or follow the universe, whatever it might be for them. There's like a deeper understanding of like, okay, that's your path. Like you do you need to. And there's a deeper support. And so I now am surrounded by business women who are spiritual. I am now surrounded by people looking after my daughter who are spiritual and their own brand of spirituality. It doesn't necessarily mean my brand of spirituality, but it means they're following their path. They're walking in their dharma. And so when you choose your path, when you consciously say, yes, I'm here, I'm showing up, I'm willing, you start to attract people that are on that same vibration, who are willing to show up for their inner work, for their path, for whatever that looks like for them. And there's something deeply, deeply enriching about living a life where people understand your path and your purpose in a way that you've maybe never had before. And the reason why it's so fulfilling is because you know you've done the inner work on yourself to allow that into your life, and to say, I trust my path so much that God is also going to bring me other people that trust their path so much. And what you can create from that space is just infinite and limitless. So, this has been a brief, I will say, like, the way this is unfolded is immense, but this has been a brief overview of how my relationships have altered and changed throughout the course of my own twin flame journey. And I'm truly looking forward to the future, because if I think about how much dramatically it has changed for the last 3 years, I can only imagine the next 3 years, and then the next 3 years. Like, what we're going to be creating and bringing forward into the world is going to be incredible. So I just want to say thank you so much for being here on this video. I have met many of you also to be my soul family, and I'm so grateful for this channel for that reason, because it's been a blessing to walk alongside you in this path. So I just want to say thank you for being here. Of course, if you're looking for more support, check the links down below, and we'll see you in the next video. Big love. Bye.